This conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to Marion County Commission meeting, August 2nd, 12:30. And first off, we'll get into some public comments. If anybody, there is no public in our meeting room this morning or afternoon. See if anybody is online cares to share anything with us.
Looks like none at this time.
No, I don't see nobody. I will tell you, just less than an hour ago, I had public comment about West Pedisa, and they're concerned about what our weed department's doing, and they're taking care of it in the ditches, but they're wanting some help, and so I'm gonna have to get hold of Josh to talk to him about the location and stuff, but they was concerned because they heard that we wasn't doing nothing to hire for Brandy, and they've always talked to Brandy, I guess, so that, they wanted to see what we can do with that, so that's the only public comment that I've been told to talk about this morning. With that, we'll move to agenda approval. Does anybody have anything to add? I do have one down there, probably after the extension office, going to a short executive session for personnel. For performance, personal performance. Pretty good click there. Administrative business, road and
Okay.
bridge. That's on there too, but I
Yeah.
think we're gonna take care of that.
Yeah, I just put that with admin. I'm gonna move this a little closer to you, if that's okay. Oops. So just some informational items in your packet. You have the map and the agreement that Bryce was talking about a week ago or a while back about the watershed, or water district, excuse me. Also in your packet is just a notification from county attorney that he will be out on vacation and his coverage. Okay, then I have the minutes of July 26th and the minutes of July 3rd.
Make a motion to approve both. Both? Okay. I have a motion by Joan. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Dave Crowfoot. All those in favor of approval of both dates, 26th and the 30th, say aye.
Aye.
Aye to the 26th, and nay, or I can abstain to the 30th. Let's not say. Keep it clean.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't think about that. It's all right.
Thank you. We have a change order.
Ah. Just one again? Last time we did one.
We do have a couple of early checks. This was not in your packet. This kind of arose this morning. So we have, one was for the, I don't know if you can see it there, Randy. There we go. We had some repairs to the, for the stage at the Park and Lake. That needs to be paid, and because they have the Bluegrass Festival this weekend. And then our, majority of our IT bills, we just received this morning. There was some sort of an oversight where we didn't receive the emails.
To the park stage repair?
That one we just became aware of this morning, but they want to pay that since the festival's this weekend, this coming weekend.
Okay.
And then the other one is for tech support.
Okay, we have a total to the park stage repair to Smith Repair for $3,895. That's being paid out of county funds.
That's being paid from the park, and I believe it was from the memorial funds.
That's what I'm wondering, if it's out of the memorial funds. And we have 3 or 4 Lloyd Davies IT bills. One for a total of $5,680.83. One for $522.27. And another one for Lloyd for $743.75. Total, all checks is $10,841.85. I'd make a motion to approve all of them.
Was that, is that security work? Firewall stuff?
Well, some of it was.
Just says IT service.
It was an assortment. It's the invoices that normally would have been paid at the end of the month
Right.
and then were
It is
missed.
going through departments, road, bridge, health, and commission, planning, zoning, sheriff, and jail. Not all IT, so it could be.
It was a variety of items.
Okay, have a motion to pay that. Who's second?
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. So there's on then. You can look at each one of them afterwards if you want.
I trust you.
Like all of them's IT business.
There, for 2 of them to sign?
There's just, you just sign the top page. I
Top
believe.
page.
Okay.
It's for $10,000.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I was, because I heard you, I was thinking IT stuff was 10,000.
No, that's the total payments.
Total.
Yeah.
No, 7, about 6,000. The new county council gets to sign too.
So that's cool.
In your packet, you have 2 agreements with KDOT, and one of them, so these are for previously approved projects, and now it's just time to do the project agreement. And the first one is for the bridge replacement for the 230th and Eagle. And then the second one is for the high-risk rural road project, which is and applied for. That is for Indigo and 130th improvements. And then the next step, I believe. That would be for, it was an application for high-risk railroads for the 2023 fiscal year, state fiscal year.
Curve.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, so I think it's to widen
Yep,
and add
yep.
some road strips.
The first one was at, what was the address?
230th and Eagle.
Is that the one we had the pictures on?
No. These are projects that have already been submitted for grants and approved. That one that you got pictures on, which I thought I included that in this packet.
Over there by Chase County.
330th?
That one is a new application that you just submitted.
I was just wondering, has anybody driven that? Have you been over on that one, Dave? Is that road used much?
Yes.
Just never gets maintained. Wasn't like the bridge to nowhere down there in the center.
it's not a bridge.
After these agreements here are approved, the next step is for, to do the RFP for the engineering services on those
Okay.
generally, so,
So we need a motion on each one separately?
yes.
I'd make a motion to approve the contract with KDOT on the off-system bridge program.
Okay. I would second that. All those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. 5-0. Let's go ahead and sign it, get it going. We'll move to the next one. There's the first one. Is there two copies or two separate?
Yes, there are 2 copies of each, so that you can have original signatures on this.
Oh, sorry. Close it all in there. Take that right here, put it back in there. And both of them, just one of them, yeah, just one. Okay, I'd make a motion to accept the project number 57C-512701. This is safety improvements on our roads, and this will be on the 130th and Indigo, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's my motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Vote. on, don't stop.
All right, I was just trying to, on the table, I have given you an update from Bryce, which we just received, and so I was just trying to get the document here so I could share it on the meeting also. Okay. The first item of business on Road and Bridge is the transport fuel bids, and those are on the table.
I make a motion to approve EPS $19,880.80. Low bid. Second bid is $20,013.80. So my bid is for EPS.
Second. Have a motion by Jonas, second by Kent Becker, to approve the EPS bid of $19,880.80. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. And the other one was from Cooperative Grain and Supply for that $20,013.
Okay, and number two, I guess I'm supposed to ask if you have made any decision on speed limit changes on Timber between County Lake and 180th.
Move the sign north. Are we
You said we
allowed
talked
to?
to Isaac about it?
Well, actually, it's probably Sheriff Kraft that we gotta talk to.
Yeah, I think Sheriff would be there.
I mean, where would you take it to the airport?
Up to the end of north of Woodrow Homes,
Up to the north of them?
between that and storage sheds, somewhere in there.
What speed would you guys think?
Well, I think the speed limit's 45 already, isn't it? It's
It's
just a
30,
matter,
35, then 55.
it's just a matter of where it starts.
Put
where
the
it starts.
55 up on the flat.
So if we reduce the speed further north is all that this is about, I think.
And this was all from one person.
Yes.
Well, I'm catching the earful from about everybody east and west, returning at the T
I've only
also.
heard one person say anything 3 or 4 times.
The turn at the T where the dead end, where the road takes off to the east there, that
Goes east or west, I think, right there. So there's people both ways there.
There's only storage sheds.
No, on the south side, at the lake, when you finally get to the lake. The houses.
Oh.
There.
I thought they were
Is there-
requesting that change on Upland Road, not on Timber.
is that right?
Because Upland is the one that goes out to the lake.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking it
that's
was.
right.
Yeah.
The map.
That Timber would be, that's a bad road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't wanna
Yeah.
go down Timber
Yeah.
when it's wet.
Okay.
There's that mile section,
Yeah.
mile and a half, you don't wanna be in there.
But you're still talking, it's the blacktop when you turn off of the old highway and turn down to the airport. And where you hit the speed limit is what
Yeah.
the question is.
Whether you move that speed limit sign north. But,
Leaving the lake.
What, are they complaining about speeding on there?
yeah, well, the ones that I'm getting from south, that, I don't think it matters what the speed limit sign is for them. They just want people to slow down.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, because
It's just when people leave the lake, they just,
they hit the accelerator,
Coming up the hill going
Yeah.
north.
and they said that,
that probably makes a lot of noise too, because you're underpowered and going uphill.
and they said.
It sounds like you're going fast.
Brake lights light up all night, right there at the intersection too. Like they wait till the last minute to hit the brakes.
Oh, coming down the hill
Yeah.
to the stop sign,
Yeah.
and we got the T intersection.
That's just the way people drive.
So what's the process of moving the sign?
If, I was just asking Tina, if the intent is not, this isn't just signage, I mean, it isn't just for notice, but you're actually expanding a slower zone or changing the zone, then we need to do that by resolution, and we specify the area that we're gonna do that in.
Okay.
Not a big deal to do, just need to know the area, and Bryce can probably help with that.
Need some measurements, huh?
Yeah, at least some idea, so I can adequately describe where we're gonna put
I'd be
it.
in favor of Brad drafting a resolution for us at the location where Dave Crowfoot mentioned.
That's Dan Drive? Is that where you're thinking, or are you talking about going to the
Go up to 180th.
yeah, 180th, I guess that's what it would be, 1 mile south of
I
that.
mean, it doesn't exist, but.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, it's dead.
I would, I'd say south of the storage sheds.
South of storage sheds, in between there and Dan Drive.
Yeah.
Is that how it's legally?
I'm just
North of
picturing
the
myself
tree.
writing it south of the storage shed.
Yeah.
We should
North
probably
of
do a
the
little
oak.
Let's
more.
go 125 foot.
Well, if they're pulling in at the storage sheds, then it'll be slowing down by right then anyway, so I don't think it inconveniences them, so it's just easy.
It's just people leaving the lake.
So if you set that at 35 from those storage sheds south to the dead end that you're talking
Is it
about.
35 or 40?
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
35.
You mean down past Somerville?
No, this is coming off of the old road and coming right down to,
Down
the old, going Kingfisher, yeah, going like the old Kingfisher. But what I'm getting at is if you drop it to 35, and if that's what you want, or 45, and I don't know which it is, but 35 could be a good speed zone. Could be a good speed trap through there. Which don't make no difference to me.
Has there been any recommendation coming out of the sheriff's department?
No, this is all because of citizens.
As the residential population grows out there, it becomes more of a responsibility to treat it as such.
And typically, both this policy as well, the statute is a little bit vague, but we normally do get some type of recommendation from the chief law enforcement agency. This case,
That's
the
what I'd
sheriff's
like to
department.
see.
Yeah.
And then they should specify we want it from a particular intersection, street to, and that's what I usually draw off of.
Yeah.
Could I add that to your?
Yes.
If you would contact the sheriff
Yes.
and get his.
Can you direct that to the sheriff?
His
I will.
recommendation on that. That way you can tie it with the
I have
rest.
some phone numbers for Bob anyway, I just need to call him.
I would second Dave's motion.
Oh, I didn't write it down as a motion.
If you just do it as a directive
Oh,
today,
yeah.
then I'll
I
We
can
can
do
make
his
a motion
directive
later
later
on.
I'll contact him, try to describe this, and
Yeah.
if not, he can get ahold of somebody.
Okay.
And then, once he's done his recommendation, I can probably preliminarily draft the resolution so that you get both on the same day and say, okay, that looks good.
Right.
to us.
And the biggest thing is the person who's complaining needs to trim the trees.
And we can do that too, honestly.
So they can see when they pull out there.
Yeah. I have to agree with you, Dave, even though it's funny, I'd have to agree with you.
Well, it's just, we had that in town, somebody finally cut the tree down off a corner of Roosevelt. Now you can see cars coming, you don't have to poke your nose out there.
You want me to follow up on that as well?
No, 'cause we can't make them trim these trees.
Well,
If
it's in the easement.
It's
Yeah.
on private.
Well, but if it in any way impacts the safety, welfare issues that
It's
we
his
are.
driveway.
No.
It's not
It's a private
state.
drive.
Oh, never mind that.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just saying, we don't have no jurisdiction.
No, it's his trees.
Well, why is our sign in his property? Our sign
That's
should be
why I'm
easement.
asking, if we're doing it, well, okay, I can drive out and look at it too.
I think just move the sign.
We're spending way too much time on this.
Just move the sign.
Sorry.
Well,
With the
I'm
resolution.
still looking, I guess, of course, we would ask the sheriff then for a recommendation.
Yes.
From Dan Drive south. That's
I don't know the names.
I don't even, to be honest with you.
Dan Drive, are we talking about an owner? Dan,
No,
like,
no, the
that's
road's
name.
actually
Yeah,
Dan Drive.
straight Dan Drive south. That helps, okay. Okay.
Okay.
We're
Two down.
Two down, number
We're
three.
really cooking with gas
That's okay.
here.
And you wonder why it takes so long.
That's okay if he,
Get
sorry.
We're across them off there.
I think this is just a report item that he is following up to close 190th from Chisholm Trail to K-15 due to cost of bridge replacement, as well as amount of work to constantly maintain the roadway west of the bridge.
I would say the commission needs to make the decision first whether we need to close the bridge before we go any further with that. Is that correct?
Does it require a bridge? Oh, I'm just gonna spin this off on another tangent.
No, I mean, it's fine. The steps are laid out in statute
Yeah.
as far as closing the road. And yes, if you want us to I mean, our office is the one who initiates that if the board decides that they want to initiate it. Because we have to do notice, and then we have to have a hearing.
Correct, but I thought the recommendation has just come from our road and bridge foreman so far.
It has.
Okay. And what my question is everybody okay with it? That's what my question is if that's what they want to do and it's in Jonah's area.
That's where him and I come together.
Oh, okay, 190th, yeah. So you two, I mean, I haven't driven it, I will tell you that.
The bridge is bad. No doubt about that. I just don't know what all the options are and what the costs are. And that's probably where he's going with this.
Yeah, and then a bridge to nowhere, or a bridge to.
What's the address on that again?
190th?
190th what?
Chisholm.
Chisholm.
And then to K-15.
Yeah, from Chisholm to K-15. He wants to close that whole stretch of road.
There's one house on the north side. It's, Ryan Nickel.
And how good does it impact them?
As long as the road to his place, a quarter of a mile there, as long as it doesn't close it off there, you know. I think he's the landowner on the north side. Ryan Peters would be the landowner on the south side.
They use all of their roads.
Yeah, that's why I said we need to know what the cost associated is.
Well, that's, to me, is like,
I think we need to study that one a little bit first.
yeah.
Before we, I get along with Ryan if you want to talk to him. And
Ryan, but
I don't know which way they gotta travel, what they could go, impact it, so I'm not.
really,
There's
two
how
people
many
right
field
there.
entrances we're talking about?
You know, I know there's one.
Impact also.
I think there's one in that, and that's a concern there, because they gotta go around on the
So
highway
that's
to
not
get
good.
there.
That's what I was thinking.
But the
Yeah,
tractor.
nobody wants to do that, even though they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a.
Well, I mean, if the bridge costs too much, it costs too much.
Yeah, I
Well, it's
understand
bad.
that. Has the bridge been
With the board-
used, has been people taking equipment over that bridge?
I think, smaller implements, but,
The van's got the one side of it.
but the biggest problem with that is every time it gets muddy, there's 2 or 3 people stuck down there at that bridge.
That's what the field division.
It's not the only place in the county that happened.
Oh, that's right.
If I have it marked right, I think I do.
I think that's right. That's what I was thinking it was. It's not really high.
Well, I would like to have a commissioner.
Right there. That's where the bridge is, right there where that waterway goes.
Then it's west of Chisholm,
Yeah.
west of Chisholm, right down here, where Joe is saying.
Close 190.
Close 190th then.
Yeah, so it's
Everybody-
actually on 190th there.
Everybody be prepared next week to make a vote whether we move ahead with it, and then, or to find out the cost of the bridge. Take a look at it, see what you think, because
Where's that on the legal
It is.
No idea.
Okay, so we're gonna be, right, no,
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, so now we need to see the other Minnow Township.
right here.
It's between Lehigh and Minnow Township.
now we're 2 sections. It's off.
So there's 56, there's 15, should be right here between those two. There's a waterway that comes down through here. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
You want to see the landowners on the other side?
Yeah. waterway comes down.
Yeah.
That's saying Cottonwood,
That's really neat.
River, so it's gotta be a bridge.
Visual.
Those are the best
It
things.
can't be tubes.
But they're expensive on those stuff.
Yeah, 25, I think
Oh,
$25.
wow.
Yeah.
A book.
South Cottonwood.
Yeah, that would be
Get out running around.
South.
North
and
Cottonwood's
then
up here.
find out
But
what's-
even if it's a
Mhm.
navigable
Just
waterway,
to visualize it sometimes.
it has to be a bridge.
Right.
Usually an awful mile or something.
That's what Bryce said, it is a bridge, it's not a
Yeah.
culvert or nothing like that, it's a bridge.
Yeah. And it's, I've been underneath it, I checked it out one day.
Oh, concrete one? Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
the concrete underneath is kind of tilting out. Yeah. I would drive my pickup across too.
Yeah, that would be about as far as you want to go with
Not
it.
drive anything more.
But are they doing it every day with farm loads right now?
I honestly, every time I go out there, I don't want to see anybody.
Well, let's take a look at it. That way we'll be better qualified to make the decisions. 'Cause I know I need to.
Well, we could schedule a viewing out there if you want to. That's part of what we can do, unless you just all want to individually do it, so.
We've done that before.
And we
Yeah.
could do that as part of the hearing
Yeah,
if you want to.
that's
And have the hearing.
contemplated.
Hearing out there.
I'll go check it out too.
Yeah, just try to this week.
Let's do that first, then we'll, if need be, then we can make it part of the hearing, see who shows up.
Okay.
3.
Okay.
To interrupt a second, we table the rest of the report and move into other business. Table the rest of the road report till the end of the meeting,
Okay.
since we're already behind schedule.
Number 4 is, do we need to have the guardrails?
I'm just asking if we can table it so we can.
To the
stay on
end,
schedule.
actually, are you looking just to put it at the end of the
Yes,
agenda?
yes. the
Not necessarily
agenda
table
today.
it per se for the day, but move it down.
Move it down on the agenda, so we stay.
So we can get Isaac back to
Oh.
work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is he out there
Because
waiting?
if it's gonna
I
take.
don't see
10
him, but
minutes
I'm sure he will
for one
be.
item,
He gets
it'll
some-
take an hour for the rest.
Okay.
I'd be all right with moving it to the end of his, when Isaac shows up.
And then we got Randy then.
Okay. We only got 2 others, or 3 others.
Yeah.
Get done.
Oh, Isaac's not here.
Yeah.
So-
He's here, sure.
Would it be all right with the rest of the commission to table it till the end of the meeting?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. We'll do that, take care of the road and bridge towards the end of the meeting, down here around the extension office or after that. Let's see, Isaac's out here. He'll keep us on schedule. See, I've
He
got-
is here.
I've got a new life in this board after I left the meeting. Back there on my schedule, see? Isaac, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I will start by handing these out. As you guys are aware, the dam took damage here back the last week of June with that rainstorm that we had. I was able to get 2. So this is not a bid necessarily for the whole dam project. This is pricing to come out and do the inspection and write the inspection report for the dam. They are not able to give us an estimate on what the cost is gonna be for repairs until they are able to come out and do a full inspection. So if you wanna take one of each of those, the Sustainable Environmental Consultants, the gentleman in charge of that, his name is Brian Severin. He was recommended to me by NRCS here. And then the other bid from Geo Engineers, that was another engineer, so I could get another cost estimate from the state of agriculture. They gave me this information. Both of them specialize in watersheds and dams. So the way they price this out is a little different. Really, the main thing to start off what we're looking at here would be the inspection and the writing of the report. On the sustainable, I spoke with him this morning. I will let you know we are a Class 4 dam. So for the inspection and the report, both would be around $3,850. And that would be for them to come out and inspect that and give us that report. On the geoengineers, the second line item there, the inspection of damage and stated dam, you're at $2,854 plus the technical report, which is the fourth line item there for $4,524. That would be a total of $7,378. I will say, since this was bumped up and it's in this, Sustainable did not provide that, Geo did, and so did the letter from the state when they first came out. We are now a Class B significant hazard dam with the slides, so this is gonna have to be done every 5 years until it's dropped back down to a low hazard dam, which is where we were before this has happened. I spoke with Randy just a couple seconds ago, so he's been working on this, trying to get money from the federal government. The state had to hit a threshold of 4.5 million. He said that we are 2.5 million away from that as of now. I do not know or think that it's gonna be quite that big of a project. If it's not, I think this is something the county might have to cover by itself, since we are the owners of the dam.
Has the Corps sent a letter of remediation or anything?
Not that I have received, no.
That would be another source.
Okay.
But
I believe, and Randy's in after me, I think he said the Corps couldn't do anything for us.
yeah, it's not a big enough project. That's why I asked.
Yes.
Okay.
And he'd be able to say yes or no for sure on that.
Okay.
I do know from the letters from the state, this has to be done by July of 2022. The fact that the slides occurred on the top of the dam is better than the bottom. So it's not an immediate danger or threat. But that being said, once this erosion has started, every time it rains, it's only gonna get worse. It is about a foot or so from the pillars. That'd be my next big concern, is if that erodes close enough to the roadway. One, you have, is the roadway safe? And two, those pillars gonna start going. Both of these companies, they said once, and if they get the okay, they can get started right away. But I guess the next step would be getting somebody out here to do that inspection and kind of estimate on what it's going to take to get it back up to code. Yeah.
Which one of these was recommended by NRCS?
That was Sustainable.
Okay.
And I guess they've done a lot of work with these guys here.
I just didn't get that written down.
Yes, yes.
And how'd you get geoengineers? They was the ones that did it before?
No, Sustainable was the first one that I had. I was trying to find somebody that specialized in dams, so I got a hold of Terry Medley and with the Department of Ag, and he had a couple of other recommendations. There was another company that I reached out to, but they were too busy and I didn't get an estimate from them. These were the two that I did, but the state of Department of Ag is the one that gave me this other recommendation here for the geoengineers.
Both of them should out of state.
So they're both out of state, but have offices in state.
Oh.
The headquarters is out of state, but they do both have offices in the state of Kansas.
Does anybody have any recommendations or feelings on just price only? Should we go with that, or?
I think we need to move forward.
What does Isaac think?
I'm looking here at just the meetings.
So, and that was
One's saying assume 2 meetings at $5,700. The other one's basically saying $85 a meeting.
an hour. Yeah, and,
Even so.
sorry, that top one, yeah, a meeting. And that's, so, and if you read through this, the schedule and fees there from the engineers, that is all, this is not a exact, that's what he said, you know, he's basing this off of some projects that he's done in the past, what he's expecting is gonna have to be done. Whereas sustainable, he said, you know, this is what it's gonna cost depending on what we're gonna have to do per hour. The big thing was the inspection part of it, and the report was significantly lower from sustainable from geoengineers. And that is gonna be the next big step that's gonna have to be done before we can really figure out. I tried to get an estimate on if they had any idea what the actual repairs were gonna cost, but I couldn't get that information. They said until they're actually out to do the inspection, they wouldn't be able to get that.
Do you have any reports the last time we had it inspected?
I have the full inspection report. I think it was 2009. It was 2008 or 2009. I believe it was 2009. And that was the last time it had been. And that's when they dropped us down to a low hazard dam.
Who did that one at that time? Did the Corps get involved in that?
No.
That'd be done.
It might have been the gentleman that came out, Terry Medley, I believe, was involved with that. And he has since retired. He still kind of helps out, but he's kind of moved on. Because I've spoke with him multiple times. He's kind of moved on to other projects and got away from this. And that's where I got this recommendation here, was from him. But, and I do have that full report if you guys would like to see that in the office. And I can send that over. But that was sent over to both of these guys. Yes. Yeah, it had been a while since it had been done.
But the threat was even then, was to have it inspected more often.
Correct. It was dropped to a low hazard, I believe, because of what was downstream of it. And just because they hadn't had any issues for so long, there were still things that were ordered on. Yes. That they recommended being done that never got done, but it wasn't a requirement.
Commission, I don't know, Tina, is this a risk management issue?
I think that there's sufficient funding in the park budget to pay for the report and the engineering.
Okay.
You hate to pull out of risk management unless we need to, like, once the project begins, if we have to do it, we can. But we're not putting any new money in risk management this year, so you don't want to necessarily deplete it if you have funds elsewhere.
Well, you heard your recommendations, Commission. Do I hear any conversation?
We better get it started, I think.
I guess I'd make the motion to accept the, I guess you call it bid from Sustainable Environmental Consultants to inspect the county dam at the fee as outlined in their proposal.
Just leave it at that. Yeah, whatever it takes to inspect it, yeah. Okay, Dave Mueller made that motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Dave Crowfoot seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. My vote.
Yeah, this is staring at it too hard. I don't want another engineering. I don't know either one of these, you know?
Yeah.
I'd make it well.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
Experience of 20 years. I've always been positive, so.
Well, it is about, take one off.
Well, Isaac, does that start you off? Keep it going. What else do you have?
That'll start me off. I did, I'm gonna pass these around. So this is gonna be our expense and sales reports for the bake shop since we have started. So we have May, June, and July on there.
Got to run your first P&L?
I have each page broken out by the month. As far as the sales, I will say, like, for the revenue side of things, the way the report went, and I went ahead and went through all that, the first number there is before sales tax, middle number is sales tax, the far right column is totals. If you want to look through there, if you have any questions whatsoever, I'll try to answer them as best as I can. I will say on the last page for at the end of July, which we ran this morning, right now we have almost caught back up to break even. I really believe here at the end of August we will have turned a profit. The big expense that hasn't brought in any type of revenue was the original point of sale system, but I will say that has been tremendous for me, not just for this, but for all other business that we do there in the office. It's made things a million times easier than it was before. But if you want to look at that, and if there are any questions, I can try to answer them as best as I can.
It's amazing what technology can do for you.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need it until you use it, and then just wonder how you get
Show
it
me the
out.
bottom line.
Look how quick your turnaround is.
Yeah, that's technology. It's pretty good, really.
That is really good. If it could be
But this
amplified.
doesn't have your hunting and fishing or
No, and
or the boat license on that.
No, that does not have
This is
any
just-
of the county permitting that we do.
This is consumer goods.
That is strictly just the store and bait shop items.
Stuff we didn't have last year.
Correct. That excludes, yeah, all the boating permits, camping permits, fishing licenses, that kind of stuff.
Just making sure it floats on its own.
Yes.
What was that system's cost?
It's on that
14,
front page there. It was
14,
almost
28,
15, a little under
68.
$1,500.
Oh, okay.
Top right here.
14.8, that's it. Well, you take that off of there, on the back line back there.
You're already broken.
Yeah. Hopefully that system won't need nothing for 3 or 4 years
Yes.
to improve it.
You didn't wind up with a employee expense or any
No.
part-timer? No, nothing?
Had a hard time, and so we've been doing it without, and it's been okay.
Okay.
Be about
Couple stressful weekends, but we've been able to do it. Were there any other questions on that?
Revenue. Is this bait? Crappie bait? Fish?
So
catfish
yeah,
bait?
so what I did, on that, the point of sale system, you can break it out by categories. So what we did there, where it says,
I was just wondering, you're not selling crappie. You're not
correct,
selling catfish.
like yeah.
All right.
So like the bass category, that's
Yeah.
like bass tackle.
Okay.
And then the crappie, that's crappie tackle. Instead, and you can with that system actually itemize every single thing that you sold.
Yeah.
But when we do that, even for a week, the receipt that comes out is about this long.
Right.
So to do it for a month,
Yeah.
this would have been probably like a 30-page report.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of how that does. So everything that we add, we can put it in a category.
So it's your
Just kind of
category,
helps
and then you have subcategories.
Yeah, helps you see what things are selling,
And your
and that sort of stuff.
second line in your revenue is actually sales tax?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct.
So it's not factored into your total?
That's correct. And then yeah, the bait part of it, that's our worms and our live bait. And then on the expense there, those are the different vendors that we've purchased from, and it's
Okay. Very good. Looks like it was the right move.
If you don't have a bad day, if you have a bad day of fishing, they're not gonna give you some problems.
Have something to take home to mama.
I need that sacrificial fish. It's usually the only one I catch.
Okay, now just give us what have you learned since you started this?
this.
I mean, not just that, but about a bake shop.
But you
Learned
can
a lot
say in
about-
public.
Yeah. Fishing hooks, weights, the terminal tackle is by far the biggest seller. The miscellaneous lures and stuff, they sell, but not a whole lot. Drinks have been probably our biggest addition out of everything. We sell a ton of drinks, which, you know, is one of those things, not really been a concern before, but, you know, if somebody needed a bottle of water or something, they had to drive back to town if they didn't have them. And that's really shown through this, what the demand was for them.
Cool. Cool.
But yeah, so far, you know, we really haven't had any major complications or issues. That new point of sale system has been awesome to have for everything. But yeah.
So it's a multi-purpose system, it's not just a bake shop?
Yes.
Cool. All right, move ahead. Thank you.
Okay.
I will say, so we have the Bluegrass Festival this weekend. That will be a Friday and Saturday event. It seems like excluding last year with COVID, yesterday we had about 30 campers come out for the whole week for this upcoming weekend. My campground behind the lake hall is almost completely full already for the festival. So it seems like it's gonna be a busy one.
Many Winfield.
I did talk to Sheriff Kraft about coming out to help us, maybe just have a presence out there over the weekend. He said not a problem, so we're expecting them to come out and kind of give us a hand. But besides that, it's it's going to be a busy week, I think, and it should be, looking at the weather, it should be a good week for that. The last thing that I have, and I've touched about it briefly, since the storm that we had there at the end of June, the residential roads out of the lake. I've had a lot of people come to me asking us to supply gravel or try to get a hold of Bryce to bring gravel. Bryce had brought us, or let us borrow their small dump truck. So we ended up going out and taking care of the lake roads. We're pretty much done. We got everything back up to pretty much standard. It's not great, but I mean, they're all drivable. And what we did is I ended up getting 2 loads of gravel back at the shop that we've been letting people come and get. But the big thing that I'm getting is, you know, we don't have anything to pick this up with, whereas some people do. And, you know, there's a lot of retired people out there that don't really have the means to come and get that gravel. And I was been asked multiple times to bring it up to the commission. So I don't know, you know, if there is, you know, this has been a discussion forever. But I did want to kind of bring it up just so.
People that do have it may take a half a load in certain spots.
Yeah.
And they may get the benefit of that with half a load of rock.
Yes, and my
Somebody else may not get any benefit.
and that my big problem is when we try to do anything, as far as on the residential side, that's kind of when my phone starts ringing all the time and says, well, you know, you guys are putting this here, can you come and put it here? And then it just kind of goes down the line. And
What about me?
yeah, it adds up quick.
Do people not understand when they buy a property on those private roads that that's not a county road?
No.
It doesn't seem like it. And I don't know if there's anything out there that states that, but it seems like, you know, it's widely believed that it is a county road.
Maybe something with the deeds that says that.
Just give us a
Being misrepresented when they're sold, then.
It makes no difference. You could buy a spot out in town, and most people don't understand that their infrastructure out to the easement is theirs. Yeah, they gotta learn it the hard way once.
Give me an idea of what you're telling me. If you've had 1 call, you've had 50 calls? If you've had 1 call, you've had 75 calls?
So there has been times since I've been there, not necessarily during the summer like this, but when it's winter, things are slow, that we actually have brought gravel onto the residential sides, especially because there's been a couple times where, I mean, they're just, the roads out there aren't made to handle gravel. And when it gets bad enough to where, you know, you drive around and it's a serious concern, we took our tractor back there, put a little load in, just filled it and left. Well, when we try to do that, that's when the phone calls come in, because people see our equipment back on those
Yes.
roads, and,
Yes.
and you know, well, you did this here,
Yeah.
can you please come and do it here? And then we go over there,
They
and
drove by
it,
my house.
yeah, it just kind of snowballs. And so, we have not done anything on the residential roads since that rain. I've been refraining from doing so for that one
Well,
reason.
there's a reason why, because this is busy mowing season.
Yeah,
And-
right.
And time may not be available right now.
Correct. And I just wanted to, you know, kind of make you guys aware of what is going on. I don't know if you've gotten phone calls about it or not, but I know that I've had a lot. And so I just kind of wanted to make you aware of the situation. We have not put any rock down on any residential roads, and I mean, right now, I really
But
don't.
you've made it available to them,
We have.
whether they have a way to get it or not.
We did
That
stop
responsibility kind of goes over to them. Okay, find somebody that can haul it in for you. So, I mean, it's not like there isn't a supply there.
Yes.
Other than sending somebody out to help fill some of them, I mean, because the biggest problems is the hills, and when we get the 5 and 6 inch rains, why it's down on the Lakeshore Drive.
Yes.
I mean,
And
you don't
it's-
stop till it gets to Lakeshore Drive. So
Yeah, and it's like that, you know, it's like that on the lakeside too.
Yeah.
We have the same issues with all the gravel roads out there on the lakeside. It's just the drainage and the gravel, you know, it comes and it goes.
Yeah.
You put it on, if you get any kind of rain, it's gonna wash out.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it's not that bad, but with what we had back in June, it did wash a lot. And we did, a lot of that did wash out on Lakeshore, we did take our tractor around Lakeshore and try to
Yeah.
push it back up, but, which helped a little bit, but not a whole lot. But yeah, I just had a lot of phone calls about it, so I just wanted to bring it up, just
Well,
to
thank
make
you.
sure you guys were aware.
But tell you, thank you again. It's a problem that I don't think it'll ever stop until we find some money to sort of put some sort of sealant or something down to some of those hills to stop it. But then if you put millions like we had, it washes that out again.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It don't stop there.
Basically, build up the road sometimes. If you ever had time or money, and chip seal it, stay away from it.
It's the only way to get something. But over there where east side over there, the landowner went ahead and put cement down beside his greenhouse.
Yes.
And, you know, then it washes at the end of the concrete.
Right at the end of it, yes.
Concrete washes right there. So, yeah, it's a problem. Okay, that was last?
That's last for me. I will give you a little update. The company from Missouri has started on the dock. Cody came out last week and inspected the shoreline. It sounds like he's gonna have, after this Bluegrass Festival, shortly after, I think they plan on getting started on removing the old one. I think he talked to a contractor in town. They're gonna break out the concrete slab there where the old dock connected to the shoreline. They're gonna re-pour that and everything. He talked to an electrician and about some plans to get that out there, but it seems like, yeah, the week after Bluegrass, they're ready to get moving forward on that. And speaking of which, that brought up one other issue, not really an issue, but on the new dock project itself, the overhang around the outside walkway. They talked about, in his original plan, to remove that for cost savings. There had been some back and forth on that. Cody priced everything out. He said to do an overhang on the What he was thinking is just one side, the far outside of that dock to run it. He said it would cost about $10,000 that would cut into contingency, which we have a little over 26,000 in right now. He asked me if we wanted to do it. I told him I did not want to make that decision without talking to you guys first to see if you had any input on that.
An overhang on one side of it?
Yes.
That would be just for people that wanna go fish outside?
Outside, yeah. So right now the way it works is that outside walkway, it's a 5-foot walkway. There's an overhang that goes around the entire thing. With the new plan, the overhang would be about a foot, and it's gonna be a 6-foot wide walkway around the outside. He was talking about maybe doing the 6-foot wide, covering the whole thing on one side, is what we discussed. Originally, there was not gonna be one. And there had been a bunch of, well, kind of back and forth, people saying that they'd really like to see that so they could fish outside and stay out of the rain if they wanted to. So we talked about possibly compromising and just doing one side. And he got a price on that and got back with me. He said it would be about an additional $10,000, which wouldn't go over budget, it would just cut into the contingency. And we discussed it, and I told him that I would talk to you guys about it. And if that's something we want to.
You know what, we like to have ice fishermen, when we have people come in the wintertime and stuff, and we are used to having that overhang over the walkways and stuff. I wonder what that's gonna do in the wintertime to safety of just getting on there and.
Right, ice slides on the walkway.
Yeah, things we haven't looked at yet.
Actually, even just the snow coming off the roof, piling up on the deck.
Yeah. Is the V, I call it, is it running the lengthwise of it really is running the lengthwise of the dock?
Correct, yes, yeah, correct. Yes.
Super tall. Probably means more post and more stuff to the outside edge.
On that one edge, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, if to cover most of it.
Yes.
Is that gonna be on the east side then, when it's out in the water?
Correct. Yes, that would be the plan.
And
yeah,
like it was, it'd be the east side.
correct. Yes.
You enter on the west
But
side.
like the far out to the lakeside was what we were discussing.
Any commission comments?
I don't think it'd make much difference for its ice. I mean, you're not gonna ice fish off that dock because it's not gonna freeze next to the dock. It's gonna be water moving.
Yeah, you won't be able to step off on the ice there.
I'm talking about just fog falling and freezing on the,
The
on
deck.
the walkways.
Yeah.
That's all I'm talking about is it's gonna be a different thing when it happens.
The amount of rainy days that we have, I mean, we have some, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know if it justifies the 10,000. Plus, for me as a fisherman,
You can buy one.
well, I say that loosely, a fisherman, but it gets in the way of my cast. So,
The roof does.
yeah.
So you can buy a lot of rain jackets for $10,000.
This is time to discuss it. That's what it's about.
In the wintertime, they all wanna be inside.
I mean, I guess I'm just not in
I'd say
favor of it.
We
Have
can't
you fished?
afford it now.
Have you fished the dock in winter, anytime?
I have, I've been out, yeah.
But I mean, a lot of times they use short poles, so they don't use
Yeah.
very much for
Especially,
casting, is
yeah.
what I was getting
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
That's why I asked that.
Well, the ice house poles.
Yeah.
Normally, if that's the case, I'm in North Dakota on 3 feet of ice, drill a hole, have a nice fire built and everything, and you're good.
People fish off of it in the summertime when the sun's shining.
Yeah.
Is there any movement towards the $10,000 and looking to investigate any more from the commission?
No, say no.
Manage the best we can with the dollars, just because the situation.
You might ask the question, could anything be added at a later time?
Okay. Oh yeah, I can definitely do that.
I mean, just
Leave the option open.
leave the option open at some
I
time.
got a question on the, well, we got the big backhoe out there. Do we need to dig the hole deeper in the water underneath the dock? We don't?
No.
Okay.
It's deep.
Okay.
It's anywhere from, depending on where you're at, it's 15, 18 feet deep.
Okay, well,
So, yeah.
well, you had the machine there.
Yeah, no, it really, that.
He can take a couple swipes.
Yeah.
outside the box.
That bank line there, it's probably one of the steepest
Okay.
spots out of the lake, so yeah, that really should not be an issue.
Dig it any deeper, you just have a catfish hole.
When cars go in there, Dave, they disappear.
You save $10,000, okay.
Yeah.
That'd be so much a bucket full.
Alrighty, I guess you answered, just see if there is a possibility later on it could be added on to.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
And, that was it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does any other commissioner have something? No? Okay.
Have a fun weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, we'll need it.
So I know Randy's coming in. I read in the plan that the promulgation is supposed to be in the form of a resolution, and that's not the format I had before, so I put it into a resolution, which you have on the table. So,
Alright.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yes.
Go say what? Hey, you know what you're saying?
Yeah.
I've got one somewhere, I've seen it. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Give us an oversight of what you presented us.
Sure. The, what you guys were given last week, I think it was on Monday, was it's the emergency operation plan, which has been approved by the states. What we're looking for now is an adoption by the county to use this plan. It's gone through the federal, all the guidelines and everything's been done that needs to be done.
How many other parts to this is there?
Well,
That we haven't seen yet.
there's, well, you have annexes that have like contact information, phone numbers and things like that. Let's see, they have other plans that attach to it, like the hazard mitigation plan. It's referenced in here. You can see that too. It's a very thick plan as well.
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead, Dave.
So, on page like 18 to 20, you know, list all the different places for shelter, but there's no capacity on any of them. Is that important to know, that you can get 300 people here, 100 people there?
Actually, no, for me, it's not important to know because the Red Cross takes care of that. They know what the capacity is because they
What
come.
about us? Do we need to know that as commissioners?
The capacity, I'm not sure that you do, because you won't open the shelter yourself.
Okay.
The Red Cross comes down, they bring people and they take care of that. When I give them an eye, for example, let's say Peabody, because they had one open just recently. If I tell them we have 20 people, then they'll look in the Peabody area and say, these places can hold 20 people, and that's so they'll pick up the phone and start calling the church or the school or whoever it is and get into whichever facility is available.
Then on page 67, you named one person in this whole program. You got Tina as a contact for something.
Public information.
Shouldn't this be the county clerk
It should have been read county clerk, because
instead of Tina?
it should have been read that way.
Because there's nobody else is named in the whole.
Right, I'm not sure why her name showed up, because she was listed as the county clerk as the PIO.
Yeah, but there might be a different county clerk next year.
Would,
Correct.
better not be. But, but, the,
I mean, to make it
would that be
correct.
found then in the annex? Would the annex be updated from time to time as people change then?
Yes, they do. So
So-
for, let's say,
So-
when's the next election year? Is it in 2 years?
Yeah,
Whenever the next election year is. If there's changes in that, I think they're doing mayors or something this year. But if there's changes in that, then we update the annexes.
Okay.
And we get that information from the.
So that's why you
Election clerk.
wouldn't find any other names in
Right,
this thing?
right, and
Because they should be in
I'll,
the annex.
I'll go back and try to figure out why Tina's name popped up in there instead of the county clerk.
Because I did notice that certain things weren't named, so I just.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Part of it too is, whether the county clerk is always the PIO or not. It could be just that it's an individual, it's not contingent upon the office,
It's not, and
Specify
what the
name.
office goes with the person.
not always.
It could be there.
Okay.
FEMA standard and Kansas standard on certified PIOs or certain classes you take for FEMA, there are only 3 people in the county that have them. Tina's one, I'm one, and Deidre's the other one.
Yeah. I mean, that was just,
With the
it's
three
funny
we
to
take.
me, they're the only person named in all these pages.
I-
So-
I'll go back, I'll
Your
back
name
find it.
never showed up there.
Probably says emergency manager a whole lot in there.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't give a name.
That's one thing that when I read, I've only got 3/4 of it read. I didn't bring the book with me today, but 3/4 of it. And one thing that sticks out in my mind from sitting here for quite a few years is we always need to know what one another's doing, and sometimes that hasn't been accomplished even before your arrival, Randy. And I'd like to see this somehow say, and what I've also read is some guidelines from the state, what emergency managers' jobs are. And one of them it recommends that you are to make a lot of recommendations to the commission of which way to do things. And so that way, I'd like to see, I think only a couple of places that would say about the Marion County Commission. One of them, the diagrams that's got the setting up at the top. But I'd like to also see Marion County, either chairman of the board or members of the board, so many members, something be contacted in a lot of things that happens in this plan. So, is there any way we can accomplish that?
I will look into it. This plan is a template. Every emergency manager across the state uses the same template, so they're pretty much written the same across the board.
Yeah.
Adding things in, I'll ask if we can do that.
Yeah. Because
You just added Marion County.
Say again?
You just added Marion County.
Well, we added all of our pieces into it, and it dumps into certain places, and it populates everywhere in the plan. And it's what the state uses, and they ask us to use as well.
I think it's just basically the concept of a dual control, just because you don't know, you may be gone on vacation, or whoever's designated from commission, if there was, they might be gone somewhere. And
We're talking about an emergency, so it could be,
I just
some of
like,
these people could be part of that emergency.
I just like
They're
the
not available.
the concept of dual control. We hear that a lot in private business too.
In one of the documents that's, it's not here because it's an attachment, it lists, for example, let's say Randy's in the Bahamas for the weekend, right? And who's number two? You're number two this week. You're number two. And this week, and let's say you stubbed your toe and you're in Wesley for some reason. So who's going to be number three? And we've got that whole list in there that was given to us from, I would assume, Marcy called over to get the list of who falls into order.
Right, and that's part
Yeah.
that they don't have,
Yeah.
so they
That's
don't have
right.
the
And
ability
that's,
to.
but that's in the plan.
There's no succession.
It's already preset, right, your succession, and who's gonna do what. That's already preset, and you guys already know who the next person is in line for.
We've talked about, since we have five, we may have to have
A vice.
vice, and vice.
Well, no, then we don't have a quorum.
Oh, then we don't have a quorum.
It's your call.
So we can only go so far.
So,
But that's part of the document, it's in the backside of it.
It's in the back.
No, not in an annex that you don't have.
We don't have.
It's the order of succession, which is also will fall into, when we get into the COOP plans, and we're hoping to get those done by the end of the year for everybody. That will show up in the COOP plans as well, the order of succession, not only your office, but Tina's office and everybody else's. So we're trying to schedule that as well, to try to get that done by the end of the year.
and when this plan is done, okay, this will be online. How about some of these other plans? I realize that there is some information in some of them that's not to be put out, maybe, I don't know. I haven't seen that part of that information myself, so.
Marcy and I have had that conversation quite a bit in the last few weeks. We're trying to get the IT portion of the webpage to work well for us. It's not giving us access, so Cherry's looking into it. But yes, we are going to post this plan online. We'll also put the hazard mitigation plan online as well. It's a regional plan, so we have to sort it through because it's all in South Central County in one big plan. We have to sort through and find Marion County, which is not that hard to do. Control that and search.
I'm thinking, just relating back to Hillsborough asking us for a copy.
They
And
will be
that's-
able to download right offline.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, anything that's out there that's not secretive should be online. I mean, I don't know what's secretive, and I don't know the information. Some of the things maybe to some companies are,
Password protected.
but whatever, it
Well,
should be.
well, for example, in your business, all the pipeline stuff, we don't let that stuff out.
Right.
Because we don't want just anyone to know.
I think each company.
And the company asked us not to do that. I got signed a disclosure on it.
Correct, right. Yeah, that's sort of stuff is asked by whatever company who does that, yeah.
They gotta give me permission.
Yeah. I suppose electric company does it.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Water company, all your tier 2 stuff, chemical people, all those people as well.
Any other questions by the commission?
A lot of good information.
You may have noticed that the final date on here is in 2014. That'll change once you approve it, you adopt it. Then we go in and click a button saying it's adopted, it changes. Just so you know. And then we'll send you out a new cover page that has the right date on it, once it's adopted.
What the annexes, we need to see those because they are contingent on this document. I mean, right? I mean, when we're approving this, we're approving the annexes too, so.
Yes.
So we should be seeing those.
Should we see them? I mean, commission see the annexes on here?
I guess we can work that out, and we have to come to my office, and we'll sit down and go through them one at a time, because I have a small office.
I mean, you can't print out the annexes or email them?
Well, that's the whole reason that you don't have a copy of them now, because of those non-disclosure things that we've signed. I can't just send them out to you.
Well, I mean,
I'm trying to follow that.
we need to know that as a session. That's pretty important.
So I guess if you can tell me exactly what you need as opposed to in general.
Well, I just
So
want
that would
to
be
make sure
helpful.
we know all the parts of this document, whether it's, I mean, we're supposed to be approving the document, so.
You're approving the plan, you're not approving the annexes. That's what you're approving here. The annexes are just support material.
There's,
It's like a calling tree that someone may have. It's just support material.
but without it, this,
So I think maybe where Jenna's going is the promulgation said, it basically says that the commission is directing everyone to fulfill the rules outlined, but if they don't know what the rules are, how do they
Oh,
direct
well then, yeah, let me
them to
answer
do
that for you, if that's where you're going.
well, I mean,
All-
I'm actually trying to make sure we're being all inclusive, but yeah, I mean, that plays into it.
All the coordinating agencies and primary agencies that are listed in here, we will do 1-hour briefings with each of them, and they'll know exactly what their part is this one. For example, law enforcement and the PSAP. We'll sit down, we'll visit with them, we'll go through their portions. That'll probably be 2 hours, because that's 2 different groups. Eventually, we'll get to Tina and talk to her about PIO, which is probably 20 minutes. There's not a lot to talk about that. But we will do that with all the coordinating needs and the primary needs.
Does it?
And we hope to have that done by the end of the month.
I guess what maybe we'd all like to see is just every little, we don't have to see the whole thing, but we need to know every part of this plan that we're involved in. We don't want to just say, yeah, here's the plan, and then not know what the final end of, in case there is an accident or an emergency, to put this in the organization. We all need to know exactly what's gonna happen. I mean, I think that's part of what you're asking is.
Yeah, I just, really.
We see this tree here, and the organizational chart,
Right?
and that's as far as we know. We're not gonna be able to tell somebody that.
But right there in that organizational chart, basically, you know, it seems like certain things, and I get privacy and stuff like that, but the EOC manager knows all this stuff, but yet the Board of County Commissioner sits above, but we're not allowed to know this stuff. And it just,
Okay,
it seems like there's a little
let me ask
here.
let me ask you this, and I think I already know the answer, but let me ask you this. How many of you guys have taken the Instant Command System program? All the training that you're required to take by Presidential Directive, I think it was number 6.
Yeah.
I think it was number 6.
Yeah,
I think there's about 4 different courses that you need to take, and if you go to take them, the free courses, they're online. Take them, hopefully they'll give you a better idea how the Instant Command works and this whole structure works. And there's another course that's actually you two were in, and it was ICS for elected officials that you two came to over in Hillsborough. And that should have informed you about where you fit in the whole program. Elected officials are policymakers, which you guys do all the time. And that's what your job is in a disaster, is ensure that your policies are kept, or if you need to create a new one, then you create a new one, saying, okay, now we need to let windows in, or whatever it is you need to create. So that's where your piece is into this whole thing. Yes, there's conversations, it's called a policy group, and that's where you guys fit into. And whoever gets chosen out of the group, or gets a finger pointed at them, becomes your liaison into the EOC. And then he will be over there and he will report back to you about what's being accomplished. I think is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, it's just every other thing. So, and I come at this from a corporate standpoint, right? So you have a board above most CEOs. You have, and that's the way I view this, you have a board above a CEO. That board isn't to know what that CEO is doing or what that CEO knows in order to, so that CEO has to be replaced. Somebody's got to be able to hold the ship until the next one can be put in.
Correct.
The board has to do that job. And I'm not saying that looking to replace anybody, but if something happens to somebody, you've got to be able to fill that duty as a board, as an acting CEO, until you can get a CEO put in. So
To fulfill the functions of the board.
to fulfill the duties of whatever CEO position that they have
Underneath those.
below them.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter if it's health, if it's emergency management, or if it's,
So if you're structuring it that way, I'm just trying to understand it. If you're structuring what you're thinking that way, then which commissioner is the CEO or the person over emergency management? Then he would be that person that we would spend more time talking about the process.
okay.
I don't know who that person is. I'm not sure that you guys broke it up that way. I think you guys all do it as a group.
I guess that's why I'd like to see who fills in all of this flow chart, because,
Which page do you want?
Page 40.
40, thank you.
yeah. Because you got the liaison, so is that the liaison that we appoint?
Exactly.
You got right under the.
There will be, in an event, fortunately, knock on wood, we have real wood, fortunately, we haven't had a really big enough to have all these pieces filled. We're happy for that, because that's a really bad day when you fill all these places. The EOC manager more than likely is me, or if Marcy happens to be there, I'm gone. Operations section chiefs, finance and planning, things like that. Those are different section chiefs we'll bring in here to put together the plan for the next operational period. It's either 8 or 12 hours at a time. We do a new plan for every 8 or 12 hours in long-term disasters. Our disasters usually last maybe 12 hours. And it's usually a lot of water or a lot of wind. And so we don't do the subsequent positions and things like that. So we don't bring in a lot of these people to do our disasters because they're small enough that they can be done without all that. Again, that's what I'm saying. If there was someone who was assigned to emergency management or to public health or to wherever, then the department head would work directly with them and say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, and then they would share it with the rest of you. And that's the reason I call you when we have something, because I know you're gonna share it with them, you're gonna say, hey, this is what's going on.
The chairman of the board has always been the person that does something with the departments. I mean, whether it's disaster or whatever, before any of this was ever thought of or anything. So I'd like to see, because it could be a new person next year. It'd be a new person next year. I mean, that's what we expect anyway. And so when that person comes on board, then they need to learn exactly what Randy does. And so that's the way I'd like to, what I was referring to through here is get the chairman of the board, probably Marion County chairman of the board, Marion County commissioners, not name-wise, just that position, put on some of these.
But if you do that, then much like what issue we'll have with Tina's name, if that person changes, then we have to change the entire plan again.
Chairman of the board.
It's just.
It's not name change.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you
It's
said.
chairman of the board.
I misunderstood you, I apologize.
Yeah, no names on it.
I will see if we can change it, because like I said, all these have these funny little codes in there, and they go and they find names who have certain positions. So for example, right now, you are the senior chairman, and you would be the top one.
Yeah, but next year it'll be somebody new, and I don't see no problem why we can't have that. And that's what Kent's saying. We want to know what everything goes on. I mean, somebody on our board needs to know. so, you call me when there's wind, rain, whatever, and that's what should be expected, so that we know if there's gonna be a meeting of something that you're gonna have to make some big decisions on. I would expect the chairman of the board to be, even if I'm not there, I'm expected to somebody to be that way.
Well, you're delegated.
Yeah, somebody fill in, so. It's called teamwork is what it's called. That's what I think it is. And so, if we can get that on there somehow, we would appreciate that, I'm quite sure.
I'm still torn to trying to approve a plan missing elements.
Can I ask, what does PSAP stand for? I didn't see it. I did not see it.
It's the dispatch service,
listed
Public
out.
Safety Answering Point.
Okay. I didn't know
It's
if, I didn't see anywhere in here where it was listed out.
It's the new name that came out
Public?
about 6-7 years ago. It's Public Safety Answering Point.
Andy,
Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder if we could take a 5-minute recess, let the 4-H kids come in and do their thing and go out there in the hallway.
Are they?
I mean, they haven't left yet. We'll just- I mean, they just come in and do a presentation, okay?
Well, how's the commission feel about approving this? Right now, you wanna take a break and let them come in and do that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right.
Just hate to cut Andy off in the middle of this, but I can hear him out there, it's starting to get louder.
Yeah, Randy, let's go ahead and take a little break. Let them come in.
Open up the meeting.
Get them.
Oh.
Wow.
Hello.
Guys, we have some exciting
Good
pictures.
afternoon.
Might have heard him call. We were trying to be quiet.
Oh, no.
That's all right, that's all right.
So we are here today. I'll let them all kind of file in. Every year for the Marion County Fair, we do a commissioner's gift basket as a token of appreciation for all that you guys do. And so I'll let each of them introduce themselves. We have 5 of our 6 clubs here, so every year one club gets a rotational break. So go ahead, Jordy.
I'm Jordy Raymer. This has been my 2nd year at 4-H. This is our gift basket. We have a photo of a ducks. We have ceramics, a cookie jar mix, and a string art.
Thank you, Jordy. All right, you want to share what's in this one? Okay, so we have here, this is actually South Cottonwood's basket, because you want to say your name?
I'm Wyatt.
And Wyatt, which club are you actually from though today?
I'm from Happy Hustlers.
Yeah, but you're helping out with South Cottonwood today, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes. So they have some goodies in here. I think this one's a little bit more barbecue themed. There's some information there, so they kind of focus on the
There's
Foodist
some
project.
stick art.
Yep. What else is in there? See some other goodies?
Right in the bed. There's some stuff in the bed.
Yep.
Honey. There's some pictures, an album.
All kinds of good
A
stuff.
virtual album.
I'm Riker Salisbury. This is Happy Hustlers Gift Basket. We have a t-shirt, some macrame, art, wood art, pictures, cooking recipes, more pictures, wool, and some hand sanitizer bottles that we gave out during the school year.
And that was actually part of a big grant. So if you want more information on that, we can send that to you. But that was pretty cool, the hand sanitizers were.
I'm Hannah McDermott. This is my 8th year, and I'm from Tampa Triple T's. This is a picture, soap, lotion, a mask.
And Hannah, what's special about that soap?
So we got goat milk.
Yes, so kind of incorporating the Go project there.
My name is Autumn. I'm from Peabody Cheetahs. And this is your gift basket. It has Ripper Up, goat soap, heating bag, and some art.
So yes, so they're all, as you guys have heard, each gift basket has a little bit of a different project that we have in 4-H. There's over 50 projects that we have, and so this is just a small collection of a few that we demonstrated for you guys. So I'll let them pass it out, but feel free to ask any questions as well.
I have some.
Yeah.
I missed somebody. I've got Happy Hustler, South Cottonwood, Tampa,
Tampa Triple T's,
Tampa Triple T's,
Peabody Achievers.
Peabody Achievers,
And then our
Lincolnville Wide Awake.
Yep, Lincolnville Wide Awake.
Okay, that's
That
the
was
one
the
I
first
missed.
one,
All right.
yes.
And as a project, everybody gets to pitch in and do this all together as a team, right?
Yeah, there's lots of
Cool.
volunteers.
Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead, Commission.
There's a lot of talent here.
I'm hoping I get the barbecue.
There you go. You said it. All right. Who has the barbecue one? That one
Right
goes to
here.
Joe right there. Take that to Joe. All right. Thank you, sir.
But we just appreciate everything that you guys do. I'll give a little packet of some just general 4-H information. But as always, feel free to holler if you guys have any questions. If you guys want to go ahead and pass out those baskets, you sure can.
Why don't you hand yours to Mr. Dahl?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Here we go.
And I'll put this up here for you.
Okay.
in case you need it.
All right, ready?
All right.
We know you're busy. We don't want to take up a lot of your time. Thanks, guys, a bunch for your.
Thank you all. Thank
Thank
you
you
ladies.
for all you do.
Moms,
You're
dads,
welcome for your barbecue.
Keep up the good work.
Guys, we appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Take orders on the soap?
Yes.
All right. Is there a phone number?
You've got
I got it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, perfect.
Sorry, I'm not gonna-
There's a number
Okay,
there.
thank you. Okay, very good.
And I didn't mean to scare you when I asked you.
Well, I know.
Definitely. Thanks, Mona. Thank you.
See you guys. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy, for letting us interrupt you.
I couldn't remember all the groups' names, but 5 of them. We're lucky to have them. Still active. Okay, back to the business at hand here. Any suggestions on finalizing this? Go ahead and finalize it, see if we can get some of those changes made, get a plan for action to where we all, whoever's, if we decide to, one commission member be the chairman or whatever, and be on this.
Do you want to make changes prior to?
He doesn't know the program we're letting.
I've got to follow the state. It's like I said, it's got spots where you, for example, with people, we list all of our contacts in there, and it gets spots in there where it goes to look for a certain thing, like emergency manager, so I'll find that and it'll throw that in there and dump pieces into it. So I've got to ask the state on how to do that. It's their format. Actually, they bought it from somebody else, but I'm not sure how to do it without messing with their plan.
Just looking at some of the, I mean, like Marion County EOC, maybe activated or deactivated. I guess either the, I would think the majority of the BOCC should be included in there, or an activation clause by a chairman.
What page you on?
Till 38.
38. And then, you know, then I would leave deactivation to the majority of the board, but an activation could go to the chairman.
If, you know, Jonah, you were asking about
Annex.
the annexes, the ESFs, I guess they are. Is that something that, instead of them having to come over individually, if it's for security purposes, could they do that in executive session? And just, like, if you wanted to do a work session or
Restricted
something,
distribution.
have the board in here, Randy could go through it, and then, so that's a one way that you could get that. I know that wasn't what you were asking
There's-
right now, but.
That's the way to do
That
it.
actually
There's
fixes
15 of them. Well, you know, there's 15 ESFs.
But
Yeah,
you
so,
can
but
run
you
through
could
them
show
and
them up
give
on the
what
screen.
Each function of each one of them is.
Yeah, you could.
Sure, I could basically see what they are as it is, I mean, without going into detail. You know, all the different support functions that we have.
I'd be a little more nervous about that, Randy, just because once we make the general reference, then we get the argument that it's become a public record. If we do it exclusively in executive session, you hear a lot safer.
Your call, it's what you get paid for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's,
And on one version of the plan that we had last year, on that, what Jonah was asking about on activate or deactivate the EOC, I think that in one of the versions, you have the emergency management coordinator as one of the people that were able to do that, and they're not listed in here on this plan.
Right, but the coordinator would fall under my office, because that would be the emergency management office that does it.
Okay, so you don't want
she
to
would fall
list
under
that
my office.
person. Right. But this just gives the only authority to the director, not the, and nobody on the commission. I think that's what Jonah was asking about.
so.
I mean, yeah, I can do it, the sheriff, and then the sheriff, because they're emergency type people, and that's why they would activate it. For a different reason, when we activate the EOC, all the functions don't come in, we don't do all 15 people in there all the time, unless it's a very big event. Because there's some that just won't be there. Generally, that's where we get a liaison, for example, Road and Bridge, they'd send us a liaison, they would stay in there all the time because they're gonna be out working the disaster if it's a big enough disaster. So they would shoot as a liaison person, whoever that might be.
On the ice storm camp, we did activate the EOC to do that deal, but the sheriff activated it that night. But the commission was called and notified that that's what we was doing and stuff like that, to meet there. Then we would start from there and disperse, so it is, there's room for us to be there.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that at all, I'm saying, I mean, we would probably activate it, and then call you and say that's what we're doing. If you wanna be on the list to do the activation, my understanding that you wanna be the only one to activate it, or, that's what I'm trying to understand.
No, just a member of, who could.
It's kinda what we've done on other things, though. The chairman throws something in, and then the next available meeting, we would make sure that that's taken up.
Yeah.
Ratified.
Yeah, then that way that gives them an authority for at least a week at the most.
I think that's one thing we can add without asking the states, 'cause I don't think that one's a pre-filled one.
And that way it changes whoever sets it. I mean, it's just a title, and they become part of the person that would be part of that group.
But then, it'd be nice to see the deactivation too, of the majority of the board, because if something is just going on for far too long, I don't know. I'm looking at it from recent events, different things.
Well,
storm.
go back to that two-week ice storm we had in 2008 or something.
Yeah,
That was an ongoing emergency for
for quite a while.
a long
Sure.
time.
Yeah, so,
You're probably without power for 2 weeks, or at least portions of the day, I guess. I wasn't here then, but
yeah, it was some areas was out in 2 weeks.
it'd be my guess.
I don't know, we reported into that board, there was a daily deal that was come out of that board for the ice storm. And then towards the end, we got it down to where there was just a few areas that was affected and stuff like that. That the board, that EOC was in operation every day for a report anyway.
For something like that, I can see that.
Yeah.
For what we had just recently with the June, July water, I wouldn't have opened the EOC because it really affected 2 communities. And one community was pretty much taken care of.
Half the time it's up north, the other half the time it's down south.
It
and
is.
You never know which one it's gonna be.
It is.
Seems like that, yeah. So. I would, legal counsel, do you have any opinions here?
No, not on the, I mean, the plan is not something that I have anything that I would have any input on, but just the distribution and review.
And you have to have it in by this certain date?
But by the end of the month,
By the
we
end.
have to have an adoption by then. Plan's been approved by the state, and it's got all the federal information in here.
Well, like
That should have
that
been,
was-
you should have received that letter as well. The state approval letter, that's this letter. You should have received that one. It's already been signed off by KDM.
It's in our packet.
Yeah, okay, it was in your packet, okay.
Yeah.
So-
Was
so
that the
it's-
one that is required by, prior to 10/16.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking
Oh, I think it is. Oh, wait.
about? It's in the packet.
Yeah, it looks to me. That's.
Okay.
I seen it in the back.
It's right behind you, Nancy.
Okay. I've read it numerous times, I know.
You can repeat it?
When I saw Angie's name on it, I knew we were done.
Is the board interested in having these appendages brought in so we can go over?
I think a short meeting and explain the rest of that to us would be a good meeting, and an executive session.
And no problem with that, but I really think that you need to take those courses first, that you understand what it is I'm gonna be talking about. Randy should have, I'm sure you've taken them.
I didn't go clear at 7.
Okay,
Or
but
6 or 7,
I'm sure you took some of them
Yeah.
when you did wireless.
Yeah.
So you'd have a better understanding of what it is we're talking about, how the structure all fits together.
That was just what was passed over here.
Mhm. We're just sending it
We're just
back.
sending it
Randy's
back.
got it.
There you go.
Second.
I'll put it back in there.
The same thing.
So it was in the packet.
Same thing all your packets had, should have.
Yeah. I'd say we go ahead and you bring that in and we'll line us up for a short, 45 minutes to run through what each one of them does, what's attached to this, so we all know. And we'll go from there and see if you can't get a member of the commission in this operational plan somehow, chairman of the board, whoever it may be. Vice chair underneath that. Maybe we'll come up with 1, 2, and 3 contact. I don't know whether that's necessary, but it could be.
Well, they may already have that. It's just that maybe you haven't seen it or.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah. That's what I say. Everybody see it, see what the operation, the whole deal is.
Do you want to do that on a separate day or
Yeah.
just on a regular commission day?
Well,
Just a work session at a different time?
we have a short meeting in the next 30 days. Why?
We've filled up a couple of them already.
Yeah.
With,
You put a work session on next Monday at 10:30 for the administrator. You put a work session on the 23rd for the American Rescue Plan.
About the 16th.
That's just some time.
Is that the budget?
You haven't set any extra time on that, so.
On the 16th.
Right.
Short plan so far. Yeah, with 16, I don't see too much up there written.
Yeah, there's not much there.
So 16th, Randy, are you available?
I can't be.
Okay.
Do you know what time or is it?
It'd be in
2, 3.
No, I'd make the executive session towards the end, 2:30 or so.
Oh, at the end.
Oh.
At the end, yeah. I'd make a motion to adopt the plan as presented with some changes, with some of the changes. Get that done.
So you want to do that before you have that meeting?
Oh, we don't have to. Don't have to.
If
said
you
you'd
are
like to see
doing,
it.
if you are
Let's do
doing
it
it, that's
after.
fine, but it's a resolution,
Yeah,
which I have
resolution.
right here.
Okay. We'll just do that after we do that then, do the resolution and then, we'll get that done that day, Randy.
How much time do you think? Like 45 minutes to go through those or
Yeah.
an hour?
Yeah. Kind of 45 minutes.
Okay,
Maybe less, it just depends on.
okay.
That way, have them all listed out, so it's each one of them, what it does, and give a brief explanation, Randy.
I think.
We'll just run through some of it. Anything else you got today?
Did Isaac talk to you about the dam? Did Isaac talk to you about the dam?
He said he talked to you.
Yeah, we talked, we have until noon tomorrow to come up with a damage assessment amount. Because KDM has to get it to FEMA by 4 o'clock, close of business. And theirs is 5 o'clock, but it's 4 o'clock for us. And we have to reach $2.5 million in damage on that dam, because the state only has $2 million in damage so far. And their threshold is $4.5 million before asking for FEMA money.
So their assessment's only at 2 million?
Currently, the state has received $2 million.
They got two and a half left.
We got 2.5 left, so if the dam is not worth $2.5 million, there will not be a FEMA declaration. Because this is the last piece they're trying to pull into this.
That's just for this county?
No, that was the
Statewide.
state. That was the state. We met our threshold. Our threshold was $68,000. We met it easy. But the state can't ask for a federal declaration until they meet $4.5 million in damage for the whole state.
So you had to turn an estimate of what you're trying to do?
We have to have an estimate that has to reach 2.5 million or more.
How do you come up with an estimate when you don't have anything to go by?
But I didn't know if he has to have a PE come out here and give him an estimate. I don't know if he has to get
Yeah,
that.
we approved a PE.
So it ain't gonna get done by tomorrow.
It'll be
But
2
yeah.
months.
That will be done by
2 months? It's only a 30-day window after disasters to turn into damage.
I mean, do we turn in a $3 million bid?
Well, we have to have a PE turn in a $3 million bid, not commissioners.
And that weather event it wasn't the May.
No, end of the June to July 4th.
This was the last one.
That one.
So
how do you
all
get an
the-
estimate that quick?
all the other stuff that we didn't think we'd qualify for on FEMA money on all our roads and stuff, it can't all be tied into that.
No, it only has to be during that time period.
Right, the roads. We
Right, all that's.
rocked roads and then re-rocked roads.
Right. All that should be tied into it. Bryce gave us a number and we pushed it forward already.
Okay. So that
But
number's there.
we're still missing as a state $2.5 million to meet the federal requirement. So if the dam's not worth $2.5 million, there won't be a FEMA declaration.
It'd probably be that much, wouldn't it, to do the dam?
I couldn't give you a clue.
Oh,
I have not any idea.
It's gonna take specialized equipment.
It depends on what the engineer comes back.
Yeah.
I mean, if they say you gotta put more slope to the backside of that dam, that's a lot of fill.
What if we bid too high, your estimate?
$8
Because
went
I
very
had-
far.
It's not a matter of bid, if your PE gives a damage assessment of, let's say, $2.7 million, that's what we turn in, and we're good with it. And if it comes in less, then that's fine, but that's what the PE's suggested.
Well, there's no way we can come up with PE to give us that kind
Yeah.
of dollars right now. I mean, there's just we don't have that availability.
Isaac said he had one guy that he was gonna call and talk to see if they even thought it was anywhere close to that.
He didn't talk like that. He
He
said
didn't.
they wouldn't make any decisions unless they come and seen it.
You could
Oh,
call, you
okay.
could call and ask him this afternoon.
Yeah, I'll call him again and we'll talk again. But we gotta tell noon tomorrow because it's gotta be in FEMA's hands by 4 o'clock our time.
I don't think I'd do it
Can
tomorrow.
we put in for a change order after we get the PE's opinion? Can we put in for a change order?
Yeah, because that's gotta come right away.
I mean,
Are the windows always that short on FEMA? It didn't seem like from the flood 2 years ago.
That's what he
shut
told
off
me.
that fast.
I called him today and he told me that we have till then. We have until tomorrow.
Gosh,
FEMA's
they give us a month to get it in and then they look at it for 3 years.
Once we
I
turn it in.
I
but
mean,
it
really,
does-
it's just ludicrous.
Once we turn it, it takes FEMA time to do their thing. I agree with that.
Coming from
Because
the
it now goes through FEMA and then Homeland Security before it sees the president. There's an extra step in there as it was 10 years ago. And we just went straight to FEMA.
yeah, we
Well,
can't stop.
I mean, did we know this going in that we only had 30 days window to get this done?
Yes.
Because we didn't know that.
Well, maybe you did, but I did, and that's why we've been working. I've been working with Isaac on it.
Okay.
He's been trying to find some PEs. He's called several people.
Yeah.
Bryce has given him names, because Bryce said it's not his bailiwick to do dams, which is fine. Not all PEs do dams. It's a specialized thing. And there's some that's, I think he talked to some water folks here, and they said they don't do those kind of dams. He visited with those. So. But I will visit with him again today and see what we can possibly come up with.
Put it on there as unknown damage until it reports in.
I mean, I'd have liked to know that we only had a 30-day window because I was taking for granted we had a lot longer window than that, based on what we've seen in the past.
They're just trying to declare a declaration, is that what it
They're
is?
trying to do a FEMA declaration, right? And they have to prove to FEMA that they have that much damage within the states. And the
Right.
storms came through, did considerable damage to us, but not the rest of the states. I mean, it basically said just north of Peabody and dumped 10 inches of rain on you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, I know it was very localized.
Did Bryce do anything on the roads? Give you guys any kind of a number for that portion of it? I know that's not
He,
gonna be
he
10
did,
million.
he gave us a number, I don't have it with me though, but he
Okay.
did give us a number, because I turned that in.
It's not enough to.
Make it up 2.5 million.
No.
We could do the whole county. Easily absorb 2.5
It'd be
million.
close, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's the best answer we can give you, is put it down as unknown damage and reports coming. If they like it, they like it, if they don't, they don't.
We'll see if they take it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, just adding 2% concrete into something was $500,000. So if you do any kind of stabilization with
3
any kind of
million
concrete.
wouldn't be from Wolf.
No.
But I mean, the guy that came from the Department of Ag 2 days after it happened, he says, you definitely have to get rid of the sharp slope and make it bigger. He said, that definitely has to happen.
That's a lot.
I said, I have no idea what that means,
Like
we'll
Joe
pass it
said,
on.
if you have to put more slope on
Yeah,
that
that's a lot
backside,
of
you're
dirt.
gonna get a 2.5 real fast.
Yeah.
You'd get the 10 million.
I mean, there's gonna be so much engineering involved in there, to make your head spin.
And you're tying the slope, and then you're gonna have to tie the structure to keep the slope.
Go find the dirt.
And then concrete and everything else that goes along with it.
But I mean,
All the rebar and-
we can't just turn in a
It has to
dollar
come-
estimate.
It has to come from,
with a.
it has to come from an engineer, not the county.
Well,
It has to
If
come from
I'd
an
known that,
engineer.
we'd have known that from day one, I think maybe we could have found somebody that at least would have stuck their neck out. I mean, we've got a local engineering firm, if they couldn't have done it, surely they could have brought somebody in real quick.
Yeah, that's true. BBEH.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even if they don't, they know somebody,
Right.
say, hey, this is emergency, get us something on paper. Well, we're already out, so.
Yeah. Any other further discussion? Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Well, I have. Do we have anything else besides personnel?
Bridge, did you want to go back?
Yes, let's go back to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't realize this
Nope.
was gonna be an extensive list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I put down on number 3 that you all want to drive and look at that bridge before he
Yes.
moves forward with anything.
Yes.
And then he had asked any decision on guardrail on 20th east of Remington based on the information given to you by the watershed
How do
board.
we proceed with that?
Yeah, how do we just let them not have a guardrail and clean this up? It's some documentation.
older
Yeah.
Is that a resolution?
It probably, I guess I need to ask him a couple of questions, but yeah, I think so.
I think that's the direction we need to go.
I'm in favor of doing away with
Whatever
that.
it needs to
How
do to
we
do that.
it?
Yeah,
Because
just
the watershed
let
people
it
work
get it
too.
done.
Right,
Everybody, nobody wants it.
but I guess that's my feeling with how the rest of it.
And then do we
Make it
open
so.
ourselves up for any kind of stupid liability that?
Stupid liability.
Yeah, I mean, like, we should have put a guardrail because somebody drove off the road there and sunk their car.
There's always stupid attorneys, so it's always there. But no, I don't think so. Not in this case, based on what we're doing and how we're doing it, and the length of time that it has been without that.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing is that the board is all good with pursuing
whatever's
the
required to
cleanup
get it
on
done.
that?
Yeah.
Just cleaning up paperwork.
Clean it up.
No work, no actual
1978.
infrastructure, just cleaning up paperwork.
Does anybody have anything else that they want to talk about on that issue?
Yeah.
Move on, Tina.
Okay, just on the report, 350th west of Quail Creek was graded and rocked last week. Pipes should be done either today or tomorrow, and the road will be topped with smaller rock. They used contract haulers to get it done quicker.
I got a call from the chairman about that road. What were you doing when you called me?
I was up there reading meters and then I got
And?
stuck.
Waiting on?
By the train on the tracks, 2 of them, not just one, and I couldn't even get out to the road that we want to go to. I couldn't even get out that way to get to it because the one train was a long one and he was way past that. But they was rebuilding the road when I finally got the train moved finally after 30 minutes or so. And anyway, I went down the road. They was using the rock base or cement base on that road and drove it. I'm going to go back and drive it now because they hadn't got to the smaller rock yet to see that. So.
Didn't have the culvert in yet, pipe in.
Then I was out Saturday morning in Harrington and coming back, I saw that I think it's on here, the rock crushers was working on the pile at the road on 77 there, still working on it Saturday morning when I was by. So looks like they're getting down to the very end of it. So go ahead, Tina. You're doing fine.
Marion County dug the hole and helped install a water tank for Colfax Fire.
That's good. Was that at Ramona?
Yeah.
That's a railroad tanker.
Did they do it today?
Yes,
Yeah.
the hole was dug.
Friday?
He didn't say what day they
I
did
guess I
it.
can't say what day. There was a picture on Facebook of it.
Okay, I saw the tank still sitting up on top of the ground.
Okay, the hole was, there's a picture on Facebook.
Whatever day that was, I called you.
Okay.
Okay?
Fuel tanks are finally scheduled for installation next week. What's that? Rock for emergency access will be installed on Diamond between 80th and 90th today.
Thanks for that. I needed that one.
There was a stop sign on the south side of 330th and Diamond that was hit and replaced twice last night.
And as of last night, it was gone again.
Wow.
It's either somebody is plowing over them. I didn't get up there this morning because I had to be in Hillsborough. I was gonna go up there and see if I could find it. But, cause I texted Bryce last night, you know, cause I got a call and said there's no stop sign there, and he says, well, gee, we've already replaced it twice this week.
Wow.
They take it, yeah.
So either somebody's just bulldozing it over or they're actually
So they're
taking
taking out
it.
the post.
Yeah, I don't know if the post is there or not.
Okay. That's not just
But I mean,
taking
it's a terrible place to be stealing the stop sign.
That is busy.
He
It
says
could
in
be
the
a
report
fatality
that it was
there real
hit.
quick.
Okay.
It was hit and replaced, that's
Okay.
what he says in here,
So
Twice last week.
this morning, I think he went up there early. It's
Push
ridiculous.
the steel rods to the ground.
So I guess I'll drive up there this evening and see if there's one there now, or if it's already been taken
Semi
again.
cutting the corner short.
There's been a lot of illegal activity in the western part of Marion County in the last week. I mean, it's
Hey, now, northwest.
northwest and
West.
at least the reports coming in from my contacts.
My district's been doing okay. Come on now.
Okay?
Dave, you're
Keep
ready to hit up there.
Okay, project update, FDR completed and, full depth reclamation completed and profile milled from 140th and Nighthawk South. We'll start north of 140th today. Chip seal is scheduled to start today with,
Price is the subcontractor. And then.
first lift on
Because
60th.
it's two covers.
Coughlin is holding an open house today at Peabody Park, and which is over by now, I think.
Yep.
And then he says hopefully starting blade patching next week, and the Goldenrod Bridge south of 170th is now scheduled into October. That's everything on the list.
Okay. I have one personnel for session for, I'm gonna make it 8 minutes. For personnel performance. And Brad and the board, we want what needs to be here. Okay, I'll just do it. I move we recess into executive session in order to discuss matters or personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B, number one, personnel matters of non-elected personnel. That's with the board and Brad for 8 minutes, be from 2:33 to 2:51, 2:41, 2:33, 2:41.
Second.
Second by Ken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye vote.
This conference will now be recorded.
Out of executive sessions, no decisions today. That concludes our meeting. I'd make a motion to adjourn unless somebody else, unless.
Public or commission.
Oh, that's right. Right, I can't do that, can I? I gotta have public.
I thought Brad wanted to talk too.
He at least wanted to mention, based upon inquiry, that I did forward to you the necessary documents for the land bank, and that was really just kind of a first read. As you can tell, the policy portion of it gets a little long and a little detailed, and I was working through the weekend on part of that, so that's why that came out as it did. The resolution itself creates the land bank. We do that instead of an ordinance. And then the bylaws are passed by the Board of Trustees, which right now I've built it. You guys haven't fully discussed that yet, but I built it with this body being the Board of Trustees and the county staff being supporting staff for that purpose. If you choose, and I know the inquiry came up, to want to, well, no, we'd really rather have 7, 3 to 9 is kind of our standard. 5 is very average, and utilize other members of the community. I did put in there, because that comment came up in my notes, at least I noted it, about hate to have people come in here and spend their own time and money, and so I specified that, you know, the costs of their attendance, you know, mileage or whatever, could be compensated and put in there. Other than that, they're not serving with any kind of remuneration, but at least those costs. So all of that was noted in there, but the part that really I'd like you to read through is usually, if you've done a bunch of these, you'll find that that third document becomes necessary, which is a policy statement about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and it has a lot of things included in it. I took some out that I hoped we wouldn't necessarily need, but costs of disposition. You can set some standards so that you don't get accused of, well, we gave this away to so-and-so, but made me pay $3,000 for this tract. You can establish a set of skeletal guidelines, and I noted that in there in the blanks, for example.
To get rid of property.
Yes, and also acquisition of properties, and then I made a statement in there that I bolded in your bylaws that indicates we will not bid against private individuals, because you're going to hear that. Wait a minute, you guys have a real advantage. You can come in and do this as a governmental entity and forgive all of this stuff, which they get, by the way, anyway, but they don't always understand that they, being citizens, were bidding. And how am I supposed to, I don't want you bidding against me. I'm a taxpayer, support you, and you're doing this. Well, generally, we're kind of at the bottom of that hill. If nobody's bidding on this property and there's not someone else who's looking to take it, and it's just sitting there fallow and wasting, that's where the land bank comes in, to take it, try to reclaim it in some fashion and get it back into a usable form that you can put back out there. And again, it is an economic development tool at times, and I put that in there, that you will give it to someone with a clawback provision. If you don't do something in 18 months, it's coming back through due process, but that's how it come back. And we will go ahead and consider, if you have a project, we're getting a business or a service that we don't currently have. Somebody, I won't say that one here, still on the record. But certain types of services that you might like to have in the county that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get as readily, it's a good way to spur some development.
How about if it was given to this land bank, a property, the land bank decided to clean the property up, just put it back to fairground?
Absolutely.
And
you have every right to do that.
Okay, and
yep.
then we give that away for somebody
yep.
to take it.
Yep. It happens with a lot of, with great frequency. I did 2 last week in 2 different cities where larger financial institutions, national ones, ended up reclaiming, taking back through foreclosure, houses that they don't want to keep, and there are back taxes owed, and they don't get to waive them. And so what they did was offer them up to those local land banks with, because most of them, like Bank of the West, Bank of America, these different large institutions, have a program in place that their legal staff has put in place for them, where they will donate then, here's the land and here's 10 grand that we will give to this land bank. They've got a deduction for that. You take us off of the dole for all of those back taxes, we still come out ahead, plus we get the deduction. You get the money necessary and then some to tear it down and turn it to level ground, and now you can do what you want with it. That has been a real boon for a lot of these land banks. And the land bank, if they're run correctly, say that with a grain of salt, but if it's done correctly and they're careful, they become self-sustaining in a lot of cases, because they will also sell property, and there are people who will come and say, gee, if that's all leveled down, I don't have the cost of taking that old building off of there and all the old utilities and terminating all that. I'll buy it from you for $5,000 because it's worth $20 to me tomorrow. Well, great, then we get, and again, in those instances, I can always write that contract with provision what you do with it. You know, we got to be a little careful with that, but you have the ability to at least generally commit to, I will return it to some form of usable activity within a specified period of time.
Okay, and that was all in the emails that you sent today?
Yeah, those were just sent today because I was still working on it last night, to be honest, on the policy statement. The rest of it isn't that hard to do, but all of it you should read through. I sent it to Tina as well because she can look through all that and have Cherry pick out all my mistakes and stuff. Which usually happens.
Yeah, I glanced through them. I did notice the City of Enterprise.
I had one of them. See, whenever you can always tell if I've cut and pasted something, but oh, I like it when I did that, and I, you know, you try to catch them all, and I do a search and replace and still don't. I give up.
Okay, well, thank you for that, and then I'm sorry I should cut the meeting short on you.
That was so predictable.
We'll go to public comments.
Well, just to follow up on that, I think this is a project the commission should proceed with and at least duly consider. Since we're on a roll, would the commission be interested in doing a work session before the 16th meeting? To go over the information that Brad has presented electronically, do some more discussion. That wouldn't be action, that'd be work study, and then if we're satisfied at that point, then we can get it on the agenda for if to move forward or not to put it on the agenda.
Okay, what are you thinking, Dave?
The 16th, he said.
But you said before the 16th, or you mean?
No, on the
before
16th.
On the
morning.
16th, before the meeting?
Yeah, like I say, I always say
Okay.
things wrong, that's how I
Okay, I'm just,
finish that.
yeah, that's what I was just.
How much time would you think, an hour?
Hour and a half. You know, a lot of it kind of
10:30?
depends on the brainstorming that you do. Most of that is set up in such a way as a template that as we go through it,
Yeah.
it kind of flows.
Sure.
And I always bring up a bunch of, you might want to consider this, or this has come up in the past in other settings, fix that enterprise thing. You know, some of that stuff.
So that'd be a 10 o'clock one again?
10:30. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I think at 10:30, I think it should be okay. The 10 presses a little
Yes.
bit. but-
So let's go, that'd be an hour and a half. That would-
I also, if we want to get into the habit of doing some of these, we're going back to this morning stuff and being in the afternoon now, but one that Tina had reminded me of, and I look back on it, it is on the list, I just got buried, the public forum thing. We need to have one for that, because there are, after you go through all the Supreme Court pronouncements from the 1980s and forward, there are 3 different types of public forum. And we do have the ability to designate certain things which allow us to ask for certain types of information and police certain types of input. It's taken a while to go through all that case law. We're not the first one to ask these questions or have to deal with it. I knew that, I just didn't know how in depth it was, and that had been appealed all the way to the United States Supreme Court on a First Amendment issue. So anyway, but you know, limited publics, non-publics, and then the traditionals are what we have, and you have some ability to designate certain things, and I can write that into that policy in such a way that hopefully it gives some teeth to it. So something we should discuss. That really doesn't, it's a policy matter that really does require your input.
Okay. Right now, 10:30, 16th, fine with everybody? Yeah. Tina's got it up there.
I've got it up there, so the next 3 meetings, they're all at 10, you have a
10:30.
work session before
The
each of the next 3
9th, 16th,
meetings.
and 23rd.
Yes.
But we're just gonna keep checking them off on this.
There's a lot more of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be the thumbs
Public comments?
Any on the computer at the moment.
Okay. There's none in the building either, in the room. So commission comments.
Got told that somebody saw some dead trees in the ditch and they were very thankful for that. That means spraying was taking place. And I wanted to just reiterate that a few meetings ago we had talked about the trailer for the health department, emergency services. I just want to make sure that it's clear on the record that that trailer was bought with the intention of keeping vaccine and remotely going around from community to community to administer more vaccine. I was scolded for buying a trailer and not getting needles in people's arms. And
They did do the one.
the two tie together in a way, so I just want to make sure that the public is aware of that.
Six towns.
And I've heard 2 or 3 different comments. When you brought that up, I've heard 2 or 3 different comments from people to say thank you. So Dave, you might, I don't know what you heard at the actual day, but I've heard them since then.
Yeah, the people that showed up.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about it, or
Yeah.
had a couple of people driving by something,
Yeah. Well, it's a good deal.
probably need to do it again.
Yeah. Okay. And hopefully we don't have to do it just to help the situation out, but, I mean, I don't know where it's going. It's all around us.
Not good.
Don't sound good, so.
Everybody stays home, takes care of themselves, gets the shots, it'd be a good thing. But people weren't staying home.
If it blows, I mean, if it's as infectious as they say it is, there ain't much time before it blows through.
Yeah. Okay.
If we worry about abortion as much as we do COVID, we'd be in a lot better shape. Month of June, we had 10 deaths in Kansas from COVID. We had 760 abortions. So take that into perspective a little bit.
No other, Tina, you got anything? Finish up on that? Make a motion to adjourn this time.
Second.
Second, by John. All those in favor say aye.
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 Dinner the fish last.